Morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Over the weekend, I received a number of private messages or DMs from people who are wanting some support. And people email me and contact me a lot asking for help with all sorts of different things. But something that's become a bit of a pattern lately has been people feeling quite intimidated or as if there's been some aggression that they've been having to deal with in different areas of their life. What I thought we'd do today is focus on dealing with intimidation in the workplace. So, it's never, ever, ever okay for you to feel like you're on the receiving end of somebody else's poor behaviour, all right? When we're talking about aggression is really around an emotional response to something. Somebody is angry and they're going to use whatever tactics they can to get their message across. So for some people, this can mean that they're going to stand over you physically. They're going to try and get in your space. They block doorways, those sorts of people. They will do things like maybe raise their voice at you, call you names, say horrible things to you or about you. Intimidation is very similar. It's a lot around really just trying to make you so frightened, and they'll do whatever they can to achieve that. And in a workplace, intimidation can also mean, outside of the aggressive behaviours that we've just discussed, intimidation can also be quite covert. So maybe this person is turning up to meetings and supporting you at a meeting, but then behind your back, they're going around and running you down to everybody that will listen. Maybe they're undermining you. Maybe they're not completing work tasks. Maybe they're sabotaging things. It's just that kind of really difficult situation. Hi, how are you going, Cyan? I'm just talking about aggression and intimidation in the workplace. And so the way that it shows up is it can show up in terms of the person's behaviours, as we've just spoken about, their thoughts. They think that maybe something hasn't gone their way, and so they want now to be compensated. Maybe they want a refund for something and they want it right now, this very second, and they're not leaving, and they're going to stand there and ring the bell on reception until you give them the money back. That type of thinking, language, using really inappropriate language. So that language can be racist, it can be sexist, it can be, colourful language, aggressive language. And there's all these verbal and non-verbal cues that show up. And how you might experience all of this, being on the receiving end, is you probably experience really extreme physiological responses. You're probably acutely aware of your heart racing, your hands sweat, you're shaking, you're scared, you don't know what to do. You're very afraid that something really bad is going to happen. Your thinking is impaired, you can't think clearly, you can't focus on what you're meant to be doing. He's standing there shouting the place down, leaning over the counter at you, insisting that he gets his refund right now, threatening to, call people and do this and do that. And you're so afraid that you can't even remember how to use the computer. You don't know what you're doing. You get so addled by it, and then that makes your anxiety even worse. Maybe too, after this situation, maybe you leave a situation, then it goes on for a couple of days. Maybe this person is harassing you over a period of time. Maybe this person is harassing you through email. Maybe they're leaving messages repeatedly and constantly when they know you're not available to answer them. Maybe there's things like that going on. And so then what happens is you really start to doubt yourself, because these people this person, is so intent on getting the outcome that they want that it's now making you question your actions. It's now making you question your behaviour. It's making you question whether you've done something wrong or whether you've done the right thing. So now all of this starts to come up, and then this self-doubt starts feeding into your anxiety. And then what happens is that you've got to go to work on Monday morning. So on Sunday night, you don't sleep because you are that afraid of coming into work because you don't know, is this person going to be waiting for you at work? Is this going to be the first phone call you answer today? Is this going to be the first client that walks through the door today? Is today going to be the day that this person gets you? Is today going to be the day that you're hurt at work? Is today going to be the day that you can't escape, that you can't get out? And so you don't sleep at night because your mind is thinking about all of this stuff. And then you have really poor sleep. You get up in the morning, maybe you can't even stomach breakfast. You're that worried about coming into work. You know you've got to be at work. So you get in the car or you get on the bus or you get on the train and you start heading into work. And then what happens? What happens? Maybe you start going a bit lightheaded or dizzy. Maybe you feel like you're going to throw up. Maybe you feel like you need to go to the toilet. Maybe you're on the way to work and you're thinking, is there a way you can get out of being at work today? Can you call in sick? Maybe you are acutely aware that your heart is pounding like it's going to jump out of your chest. Are your hands shaking so badly that it's noticeable now to others? You can't even hold a little paper or your drink without shaking. Is your breathing really rapid now? Are you feeling really, really hot? Are you feeling like you need to escape, like you're trapped, like you've got to get out? Are you feeling like you need air? Things like that. This is what happens to people who get bullied at work. This is what happens to people who get harassed and intimidated by people at work. And I just want to say, I think if you're that person who's on the receiving end and you get up every morning and you go to work, I think you are one of the bravest people that I know, because I could not imagine how scary, how bad, how horribly frightening it must feel to know that you're putting yourself in a position of vulnerability, to know that you're driving yourself into a fight, to know that you're catching the bus or the train to go and have a fight, because that's what it feels like when you're anxious. You feel like there's going to be a fight. You're expecting a fight. It must be just so hard to turn up. You guys are amazing. So what can we do? All right. Number one, I want you to know that these symptoms that you're experiencing at the moment are 99.9% probably going to be related to anxiety, and that is really normal, and that is okay, and that's a very natural response, and that anybody who is feeling scared is going to feel these exact same physiological symptoms because you have them to keep you safe, okay? Anxiety is all about keeping you safe. Genetically, we're all programmed to experience it because we need to be alert to survive. We need to know when something's a little bit amiss or a little bit off in our environment so that we can adapt our behaviour accordingly and we can be safe. So when your instincts are telling you it's not safe, but you've got to go anyway, of course that's going to make you feel even more anxious. Absolutely it will, 100% it will. And all the meditating in the world isn't going to take away that. And you don't want it to, because you do want to be safe. Anxiety is a problem when it stops you from, I guess, doing the things that you normally do, the way you normally do them, like socially, emotionally, occupationally, academically, and things like that. But there's also a point where the function of anxiety is to keep you safe. So you do need your wits about you. If we told you, be 100% calm, then you could be putting yourself in a really vulnerable position because you're not going to have the right defenses in place to be able to deal with this really scary situation, right? So anxiety is good. You need it. We want it. It's good and it's temporary, okay? It's only going to last while you're in this situation. Then it will die down. Then it's going to come back. It's going to be a little bit of ebb and flow. So the symptoms are normal. Okay. With breathing, some people say breathing helps, other people say it doesn't. Personally, I think breathing is kind of like a vitamin. I think you can take a vitamin over a long period of time, and then when you do get sick, it's going to reduce the symptom severity, intensity, and duration. of that illness. Maybe it's a cold or flu. I think the same kind of thing could be said for some psychological tools, like things like meditation. You can't meditate when you're in the throes of escalated anxiety. It's just not possible. It's going to be very hard for you to reverse anxiety if you're already in the middle of a panic attack by breathing. It's absolutely something you can try, but these tools are better done as buffers to this even happening in the first place, because it builds resilience, it moderates stress, okay? But in the very moment, there are some things that you can do. Now, one of them is, well, you know, this is just what works for me. So I don't know, you find your own thing. But what works for me sometimes is holding my breath for a second. So when you learn about breath work and you do some training in breath work, one of the things that you learn about is the benefits of sustaining a breath for a certain period of time. And so, you know, you've all heard probably of box breathing. So box breathing is when you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and let your body go to rest for 4 counts, or for 4 seconds. Well, something that works for me is just to go straight to holding. So I can hold my breath for a bunch of seconds and then slowly release it. Now, if you want to try holding your breath for a few counts and then slowly releasing it, that's fine, but just know that you will become aware of that action of your heart, because it does feel very strong when this is happening, okay? So don't be frightened by that, but just see how you feel and see if it helps you to hold your breath for a second. But there's something that you can do before you put yourself in the situation. So let's imagine it's a Sunday night and you know that you've got to come into this horrible situation on Monday morning. What you can do on the Sunday night is get out a piece of paper. At the top of the piece of paper, write down the situation. So maybe the situation is, you know, Tom's coming in to demand his refund tomorrow morning again. And, you know, what you do then is you write down everything you believe about what's going to happen tomorrow morning. So you do it like this. I believe Tom's going to stand over me. I believe Tom's going to block the doorway. I believe I'm going to feel trapped. I believe something bad is going to happen to me. I believe he's going to embarrass me in front of my other customers. I believe I'm going to embarrass myself because I'm going to get so worked up I can't think clearly. I believe then that Tom's going to get even more angry. I believe, right? So you write down all of those things that are going on in your mind around what you believe is going to happen tomorrow morning when you go to work. Do that. When you do that, probably you'll find that some of the things that you're writing down seem very small now that they're out on paper. And that's great. That's helpful. Because when they're in your head, they seem really big. You know, we give life to them. But when they're written down on paper, it can be very helpful. But the next step, which is even more helpful again, is to actually look at, well, what would you rather believe about this situation? Okay, so, you know, I choose to believe that I can handle this. I choose to believe that I can tell Tom A, B, and C. I choose to believe that I can use a broken record technique to diffuse this situation. I choose to believe that I have good OH&S policies in place at work that I can activate. I choose to believe that I can ask my manager to support me. I choose to believe that I can get things documented. I choose to believe that I can stand in my power. I choose to believe that I'm a good person. I choose to believe that in this situation I'm following the policies and procedures correctly. I choose to believe that if I've made a mistake, I'll own it and I'll resolve things. I choose to believe that I'm operating from a good place. I choose to believe, I choose to believe, I choose to believe, right? When you've done this, it's very empowering because it brings you back into alignment and it makes you realize you're not in the wrong. It makes you realize that you don't need to doubt yourself. It makes you realize that you're okay, that you're fine, that this is going to be all right. And that's the powerful thing about it. When you come back into alignment, you can't be anxious because all of a sudden you're calm again, you're at ease again, you're back in a place of peace, you're back in a place of calm, all right? Irrespective of what Tom's going to do or what Tom's going to say, you've reconnected now with the values and you've reconnected now with your beliefs. And that's a beautiful thing about law of attraction. It's by tapping in to your core beliefs. It's by tapping in to your values that you're going to be able to resolve the anxiety that you feel when you see Tom at work on Monday morning. So what I'd love for you to try is next time you're feeling anxious, have a go at these steps here. After you've done the I believe and the I choose to believe, what you might want to do is extend upon it a little bit further after it's all died down and the situation's resolved, of course. You might want to reflect and look at a lesson, extend this experience and turn it around from being something horrible and scary and frightening. Turn it around into something powerful. Make it a lesson. What did you learn from this? Well, I learned to trust myself. I learned that I can handle situations. I learned that not everybody thinks the same way that I do. I learned there are difficult personalities in the world and I can cope with them now. I learned that maybe I need to update my policies and procedures. I learned that all of this happened for my highest good, you know. Look for the lesson, because it's the lesson that's going to give you the power. It's going to take the sting out of it. It's going to take the yuck out of it, and it's going to empower you to move forward. So look for the lesson, write it down. Then give thanks for it. Give thanks for it. Say, you know, I'm so thankful that this happened because it allowed me to grow. It allowed me to reconnect with my beliefs and my values. It allowed me to update them if they needed updating. It allowed me to feel more confident stepping into the person that I know I am on the inside. Okay, so I hope that this helps. If you find yourself feeling anxiety, I would love for you to try this process and just see how it goes. Leave me a comment. And if you have something going on and you don't want to share it publicly, but you'd like a little bit of help with it, of course, send me messages. People do all the time. And I'm absolutely 100% happy, willing, ready, and able to support you with whatever it is. Okay, and something somebody said to me last week, and I did turn it into a quote and popped it on my Instagram, was that karma never forgets an address. So that's just a nice little way to tie things up for today, because otherwise it's a bit of a heavy topic, isn't it? But I hope it's a powerful topic too, in that you've really taken away some valuable skills from this. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, have a beautiful week, and thank you so much for your company. Oh, and if you'd like a free copy of the book, it's available tonight, Melbourne time, from 7 p.m. I'm giving it away free for the first 48 hours. So if you'd like a copy, please let me know and I'll send you a link so you can get one. It's just called Manifesting Made Simple, a practical guide with real life examples. And yeah, I hope that it gives you some insights into what law of attraction is and isn't, and some tools that you can start implementing now to create the life that you want, that you deserve, and that you know you're destined to have. Okay guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.